Hey there, friends. As you may or may not have heard, it sounds like some of the politicians in Washington are actually respecting our veterans for a change. But first, check out my friends CMMG. Go to the website cmmg.com. They have some of the coolest rifles out there. You can get several different variations of all of these models of rifle. You can get them in various colors. The Cerakote finish is impeccable on every single one of these. You can use my code FTATF. Again, FTATF is my code. Use it for a discount, and be on the lookout for a video I'll be putting out very soon on their brand new mystery boxes. The mystery boxes are packed full with really cool stuff. I've got one right now that sits right next to my desk. I'll be telling you about it very soon. House Resolution 4366, which was intended to protect our veterans' Second Amendment rights, actually passed, if you can believe it or not. 222 Republicans voted for this, 1 voted no. We'll get into that in a minute. 6 Democrats voted for it, 205 voted against it. Now, Fitzpatrick, our buddy over in Pennsylvania, Republican, he voted against this. Pennsylvania, you guys have known this guy's true colors all along. It's about time you guys do something about this guy. I'm serious. We complain about stuff all the time, but we don't do anything about it. Get this guy out of there. Get this guy out. Now, I want to show you a little bit of video real quick, and I want to get into some other things concerning our veterans in a second. I want you to see some of our congressmen and their interaction with the heads of the VA, and I want you to pay specific attention to how the VA thinks of people in general in the United States, but more specifically, veterans. I want you to see how stupid and incompetent they think veterans are, just because they seek the help of somebody else. Because that's what this is all about. In a nutshell, if you didn't know this, if someone is seeking fiduciary help with their finances as a veteran, automatically they're reported to the NICS background check system and their Second Amendment rights are taken from them. No due process. That's all it is. And the VA says, just doing my job. Check these videos out.
Mr. Burke, can you please explain to me why the VA is the only federal agency that reports citizens to NICS without finding them a danger to themselves or others?
Yes, sir. I can share that we're simply complying with federal law.
Do you believe that everyone that has a fiduciary is a danger to themselves or others?
I don't believe that everybody that has a fiduciary is a danger to others.
Then can you explain to me how the determination of incompetent for VA purposes is linked to being a danger to themselves or others?
So basically, the determination of a finding of incompetency, which leads to us reporting to NICS, is one that's based on clear and conclusive evidence that the veteran is unable to manage his or her funds.
What we're disagreeing on here is the fact that a constitutional right is not being secured for our veterans and can be taken away by a bureaucrat's ruling. That's a problem. Any other person in this nation, besides a veteran, can go and receive a fiduciary. They're having trouble with their finances at home. They can receive a fiduciary. That doesn't mean that they're a danger to themselves or others. If they are a danger to themselves or others, there are reporting bodies. It can be a family member. It can be law enforcement. It can be others. You and your office could say, we believe that they are. We believe that this person is danger to themselves or others. Then it goes to a court of law. What we're doing and what we're doing with the process, you can say you've interpreted the way you want, but what we're doing with the process is we're punishing our veterans for simply seeking help.
Folks, this really bothers me because I'm not a veteran. This bothers me because veterans are treated as second-class citizens in many cases. Now, I'm also not of the opinion that I think every single veteran is a great, wonderful person. Just like every single person who delivers mail isn't a great, wonderful person. Every politician, well, that's not fair because most politicians are garbage, but every garbage truck driver, every engineer, every doctor, they're not all good people. So I'm certainly not going to sit here and pretend that every single person who's been in the military is a great person. But they did do something that a lot of us were not willing to do, and I appreciate that. Does their needing somebody to help them with their financial commitments make them mentally defective, quote unquote? You see the way these guys were talking about it. They truly believe that if someone needs help with their financial commitments later on, and you can best believe that if it's government related, like it is in this case, it's very difficult to understand and read through and decipher all this garbage that the government is tossing at these people in terms of benefits. You don't know what you qualify for, you don't know what you have, you don't know what you're eligible for. Yet if you ask for help, they want to take your Second Amendment rights away. That's unconstitutional. Now I want to take a quick look at something that nobody else wants to take a look at. I want to look at how we got here. You got to understand that sometimes these scumbags in Washington, D.C. do know what they're doing. I know a lot of times they give the look, and it's probably well received, the look of ignorance a lot of times, because a lot of times they do stupid things. But in a nutshell, they have a common goal. That common goal is to disarm Americans. There's no question about it. Why would you want to, if somebody needs help with their finances, why would you want to take a Second Amendment or a constitutional right away? That's like saying you can't have access to Facebook anymore because you need help with your finances. It's the same concept. You're removing a right because you don't think they're capable when all they need help with is a little bit of numbers. But that's not the point here. The point is Washington, D.C. has created this monster. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is that these folks, in many cases, they get out of high school and they don't have an option. They don't have a viable option. The reason for that is because most of them don't qualify to go into college. Now, am I saying college is better? No, I'm not. There's a lot of idiots with paper on the wall that say they went to college. That don't mean nothing. All it means is you paid to read a book. I can read those same books and get the exact same education for free, just the cost of the book. But these other people go to college and they think they're better than everyone else. Problem is, a lot of these people who are trying to come out of high school, they don't qualify for college, so they have to find some other kind of option. That option in many cases, especially if they want to go to school later and don't have the money now, GI Bill, something like that. Or just to go in there and learn a trade in the military and come out and get a job as a result of learning that trade. But why are these people coming out and not qualifying for college, or maybe not even feeling like they're, I guess, available for college, like they're not prepared for college? I'll tell you why. About 130 million adults in the United States have low literacy skills, according to a Gallup analysis of data from the U.S. Department of Education. This means more than half of Americans between the ages of 16 and 74, that's 54%, read below the equivalent of a 6th grade reading level. Why is that important? Well, the government runs the Veterans Administration, the same thing that's taking these rights from these veterans. You know what else the government runs? The Department of Education. The Department of Education created this monster. A lot of these guys who might have wanted to go into some other field, maybe a doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever, the Department of Education does such a horrible job of educating children that even a smart person, a capable person, is not taught properly in the school system. The government created this mess. The government has low-performing schools across the country. These children, you can take a smart kid and give him garbage, and it's garbage in, garbage out. If you're not educating him properly, like they're not getting, then you're not creating anybody, and you're wasting these minds out there that could go on to do bigger and better things. Now, why do I repeat these types of numbers, and why are they important? It's because we throw money at problems and never reap any results. They use these poor numbers to say that they need more money. Oh, our American kids are stupid. We need more money to better educate them. They even state eradicating illiteracy would have enormous economic benefits. This analysis finds that getting all U.S. adults to at least a level 3 of literacy proficiency would generate an additional $2.2 trillion in annual income for the country. That's 10% of the gross domestic product. So they're asking for more money. We can generate $2.2 trillion worth of annual income in the United States if you just give me more money. If we just tax them harder, give me more money, we can generate this. There's no guarantee in that. That is that is a spitball slung against the wall and go, that's a good number. Let's use that one to get more money. And nothing changes. The kids stay just as stupid, and people are still at the same horrible literacy rate as they are now. Here's another number. Approximately 32 million adults in the United States can't read, according to the U.S. Department of Education and National Institute of Literacy. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development found that 50% of U.S. adults can't read a book written at an 8th grade level. hearing me try to read that, you would think I can't read either, but I can't speak. I can actually read those words. But this is pathetic. An 8th grade level. An 8th grade level, I tell you. 21% of Americans 18 and older are illiterate. And look where we rank internationally. If you look at the literacy level of United States, supposedly at 86%, that's wildly high, you will find that we rank behind all Botswana, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Lebanon, Libya, Brazil, Sri Lanka. We rank behind other developed countries because we mismanage the tax dollars that we're stealing from the hardworking Americans in this country. Now, why does any of this matter when it comes to what we're talking about, VA? Because we created this monster. They created the monster. In Washington, you have created people who can't properly read. So if you think the average reading level is less than a 6th grade reading level, those people that went into the military because they didn't have the numbers already to qualify for college, so we already know that they're probably from the average and below level as far as reading comprehension. And I'm not poking fun at veterans, by the way. This is a simple fact of how that progress works. So if they go into the military, we're proving that they're not stupid people because the military puts them in charge of billion-dollar projects and equipment and things like that, and they don't blow the world up, right? They must have a little bit of knowledge to them, and probably the military ends up teaching them how to read, to be quite honest with you. But they go into the military, they come out, and because the federal government has done such a piss-poor job of educating them, guess what? They got 5-syllable words littered from one end to the other because a bunch of whack jobs over in Washington, D.C. are writing all these benefit wordings and documents and things like that, and writing these things in there to where the average person with a reading comprehension level above average cannot make heads or tails of these benefit things that they're rolling out. So the average person just is going to naturally need to have somebody help them with their finances so they don't screw it all up. They don't understand it. Probably once you explained it to them, they probably would be fine. But at that point, they already have that person who's helping them with their finances. Does that make them incompetent? Does that make them mentally defective? Do you honestly think people with a 6th grade reading level who have gone into the military, completed 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, 12 years, 20 years, do you think when they get out that they are mentally defective simply because they cannot comprehend the benefit packages that you put in front of them? No. I'm here to tell you they're not. The federal government created this problem by putting a bunch of people who can't read out there, and then they make these things like freaking quizzes and mazes whenever they hand you a stack of papers and you're supposed to figure that out. Smart people can't figure this out. So there's no reason why our veterans should be treated like either criminals, because criminals can still buy guns, or they're treated like people that are ignorant, mentally defective fools. And that's how our government thinks of these people. That's how they treat them. Make no mistake, the government knows what they are doing. They know they're creating dummies. They're not doing anything to create smarter people in this country. And then this is what they do. They take people who they now think are too dumb to do anything else, and they can put a label on them and take their constitutional rights. At least that's how they've done it so far. I like to see this kind of unraveling of unconstitutionality, especially when it comes to a group of people who are willing to protect our country, but you're not willing to let them protect themselves or their families.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.